Hello, my name is Albert Ilzolachuri. Today I'd like to discuss and share with you about basic JavaScript. First off, we'll talk about variables. Well, variables are containers for storing data values. A variable specific is a location within a computer's memory. So when you declare a variable, the computer will reserve a specific space in its memory just for that variable. Here's an example of how you declare a variable by using var and then the variable name with the semicolon. You can assign values to that variable by just using the equal sign, like we show in this example. So, for example, var price equals $6. Var number, var is supposed to be var name students. Name, the value would be a string of Albert, and then another name, var name equals with value string Ilzolachuri, and remembering that the semicolon goes at the end after declaring and storing a value in there. Next off, we'll talk about loops. Loops are how the computer decides whether it needs to repeat a specific statement in code. So there are 4 different loops in JavaScript. They are while, for each, and do while. And like it says right here, it says while is used for simple counting. It also is used for when a sentinel needs to be checked before the loop. The next one is for. It's also used for simple counting. For each, it causes statements inside of it to be repeated once for each element in an array or object. Do while is like the first 2 is used for simple counting loop. With the statement, it needs to be checked before the sentinel. So before the statements that's inside the loop. Here we have an example of while. So you declare the variable I equals 1 while so this is saying while I is less than 3, do alert window, and it'll loop through, and once it alerts the window, it'll do a counting. So go I++, which means that it'll just be 1 plus 1 plus 1. So then it'll be 2, and it'll go back again, go while, and it'll check 1 is less than 3. You have 2 now, so it'll be true, and so it'll pop out, and then it'll go I++, which is now 2 plus 1, so that'll be 3. While I, which is now 3, is less than 3, that's not true anymore, so it won't continue, it won't do the pop out, and it will end your while loop. This is the same exact thing, but for is the same exact as, it's very similar to while, except it's just the syntax is different. So you have the for telling you that it's a for loop, and then you have everything that's in here. You have the variable being declared with the initial value. You have the checking of the variable, and then you have the addition to the variable, and it'll do the exact same thing, except everything's in these curly braces, in these parentheses, and it will pop out. It'll do a window alert 2 times, according to right here. So for each is a little different. You can see that it's a lot more code. So So you have var text equals string. Var I is being declared. So var I equals 0. Now they're putting a value into the variable I. So is I less than 5? Yes. Then it will jump down to here and it will store in the variable text. The number is 0. And then it'll jump over here, add 0 plus 1, and then it'll go over again. Now I equals 1, it'll check it. I is less than 5, yes. Text, the number is 1. And then right here it displays the code. Do while. This is when you want to the statement to continue. Where is it again? Sorry. The statement needs to be checked before the comparison, the sentinel, before you check if I is less than 3. So you declare the variable I storing the value 1. So it says alert this. So do this, and then it'll check the while. It'll do this, alert, then add 1 plus 1, I plus 1, and then it'll check. Is it still less than 3? Yes. Then it'll go over again. Alert. Now it's 1 plus, and then now it's 2 plus 1. And we'll check. Yes. It'll go back. Alert. And 2 plus 1. It'll check. False, and then it'll end. So that's those are loops. Next is conditional statements. The computer must be able to make decisions. The computer makes decisions by evaluating a condition if the condition is true. Then certain statements will be executed if the condition is false. If the condition is false, then the computer selects a different set of statements to execute. Here are the following conditional statements. If. Used when a true choice exists and a false choice does not exist. If else. Used when a true and false choice exists. If else. If else if else, used when more than 2 choices exist. The choice is based on different variables. The switch, used when more than 2 choices exist. Each choice is based on the same variable and uses the double equals comparison. I think that's a typo. My bad. Comparison value are integers. Comparison values are integers or strings. So here's the if. So it's saying if balance is less than 50, and that just depends on the user input. So for example, we'll say 25. And if 25 is less than 50, if balance is greater than 50, so then let's do 51. So 51 is greater than 50, yes. Then it'll declare the variable interest and then give the value of what the balance is with 51 times 0.03, and then it'll give, and then it will add sorry, give me a second. I messed up. Yeah. So then it'll add the balance. You'll multiply the balance times 0.3, and it'll pass. But if it's less than 50, so if it's 49, then it won't, and you won't get your interest. Here's if else. Okay, var bonus being a variable creating a variable bonus. If sales is less than or equal to 1,000, bonus equals 20. Else, so if this doesn't pass, if this isn't true, then it'll go over here. Else, then bonus equals 100. So that should actually be 200. Sorry, that makes sense. You would get that, and then it will. You create another value, a variable salary, and you're creating a value which is sales. So whatever the user entered times 0.10 plus the bonus that is being added. So it'd either be 200 if it passes or 100 if it doesn't. If else. If else, if else. So it's the exact same, very similar. Bar discount. If this passes, then do this. If that doesn't pass, then step to the next one. If this passes, do this. If that doesn't pass, then do this, and so on and so forth. And if none of those work, then this is pretty much the default, where it says discount, just add 20%. And then it'll do the math. Switch. Now switches are pretty fun. I like these ones. So you create a variable. You're switching specifically the class standing. So the user will enter whether they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, or actually, and so F freshman, S sophomore, J junior, and N senior. And when they enter the number, I mean the letter, then it will, depending on, it'll go through. So it'll say, okay, so say the user enters N, it'll go through, check. F, nope, okay, then we'll skip through. Check. Is that N? Nope, skip through. Check. J, nope, skip through. Check, yes. So then it says, then it displays, your register date is on November 6th. And it'll display it with a document.get element by ID. And then if someone enters something that doesn't pass, if they enter A or something, then it'll say register date is unknown. It'll display register date as unknown. Okay, arrays. Arrays is a collection of variables where each variable has the same data type. Each variable in an array is called an element and has an index, which tells you the location of the data in the array. The big advantage of using an array is that all the elements within the array can be declared, created, or passed to a function as a whole. So this is how you declare array. Variable, and then array name, where you would put like person, and then you can, or people, and then you can have store people's or people in that array. You can also create an array by doing array name equals new, and then array, that's key, and then the size of the array that you want. So 10, 1, I mean 1 wouldn't make sense. 10, 2, 50, whatever. And here's an example. Variable scores, new array. So this is you're putting the size of 25, so it's going to have, obviously this isn't 25, but just an example, you can also put a variable making the array name as scores, and then you can literally put every single array in the same, like in these curly brackets, so everything that's going to be stored. So in this case, the score of 10, score of 12, 13, 14, or you can do either or. So you can declare it by putting the size of the array, and then later on putting the values in the array, or you can do the values in the array all in one line. Associative arrays. Arrays that with name indexes are called associative arrays. So here, person.0 is the named index. Person.1 name index. Person.2 is the name index, and it'll display what's being displayed right here. So say document element ID by ID example 0 within the inner HTML equals, so person 0, it'll find person 0, the name index, and then it'll also put the length of the array persons. So then here is Albert 3, and then as well right here it shows using the same thing. So it's going to person 1 is Ilzal person 2 18. Person.length in my code in the back end, you can't see it, but I took these out. That's why there's no 3 right there. Okay, and function parameters. Function parameters are the names listed in the function definition. Function arguments are the real values passed to and received by the function. So right here, parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, those are all passed through to be used within different functions. That way you can get the values from different functions to use in another function. So here's an example. The name of the parameter is A, B, and C. Variable sum equals A plus B plus C. Then you add a new one, and you're going to do what this sum divided by 3, and you can return the average. That way, another function can use the average that is in. You can use the average that's in the average function. Here's another example that I created. This is just a simple program. This is trying to bring everything, tie everything all together with a variable, with function, passing a function, parameters, array, all that, a loop. And what it pretty much does is it will ask for input from the user, and you can't. That's right here. Just enter a number less than 400. So you put 21. But what it'll do, it will so right here, bar value, it'll ask once it pressed, 21 will go over here, and it will be stored in value. That way other functions can use that value, that number. So the function write, that's later on. It's going to be this one right here. It's going to use it. So it'll pretty much what it does, it'll go through and it will decode, it'll go through creating a var Roman numeral, and it'll look for the numbers that are in each of the that are in the input and throw it back, and it will go over here and display, and it'll go, so it'll be 2, get the 2 variable, and then it will put it in and send it back to the user. And that is pretty much what the basics of JavaScript. Thank you.